Hey, everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. I'm going to get to AEW Summer Blockbuster shortly. A story related to AEW that stretches from Tuesday night's NXT. NXT actually drew over 700,000 viewers on CW, really good number. I would expect AEW's ratings to not be really great. There was a really good NBA Finals game going on at the same time. So also cable television versus network television is a little bit different, but we'll get to that at another time. But I need to talk about the Mariah May name change again here because there is a clip in that from the build-up to their Hollywood ending match, which ended up being Mariah May's last match as Mariah May in AEW, where Toni Storm basically sentenced her to mediocrity. And that clip is one of the now seemingly cycled wrestling clips, especially for AEW sickos who are basically like, haha, Mariah May went to WWE. She's in developmental. She's got a new name. That's not Mariah May. She's sold out, whatever. And it's becoming this whole conversation of, yeah, Toni won. Okay. You guys may think I'm gonna try and take this away from and try and make this about, Mariah May's gonna have it better off than Toni Storm. I'm actually not gonna do that. I'm gonna say, why can't we root for both of them? Toni Storm's incredible. I love Toni Storm. I think she's unbelievable. The fact that she's been able to, I thought she was incredibly underappreciated under Vince McMahon. She went to AEW. She's now become, a 4-time women's champion? And she created one of the great gimmicks, maybe in the history of women's wrestling. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. Timeless Toni Storm, as goofy and as crazy and as over the top as it is, Toni Storm has made that work. And that is a credit to her as a talent, as a wrestler, and just as, a performer. And we should celebrate that. Mariah May is incredibly talented in her own right. In her mid to late 20s, I think she's like 25, 26 years old. She has done so much in her career already, and she's got her whole career ahead of her. She wanted to be in WWE. She played the system perfectly. She got a quick she had a good decent, like some people have called that a good career, what Mariah May was able to do in less than 2 years in AEW. Like, it's really remarkable what she did. She had a really underwhelming title run, but hey, she won the right to challenge for the women's world championship in her home country in Wembley Stadium, which is incredible. She won the women's championship. And, she's one of very few who have held that title in that company. So it means something. But just because you don't like how Mariah May did things or the way that she left or you want to make fun of her name, which I don't think is that big of a deal. I actually think it's really cool that she went down the road and changed her name and she's owning it. It clearly had some meaning. It's her little niece's name. So I actually think that's kind of cool. Some people are mad that they copied off a Sabrina Carpenter, vignette to use it. Or some people think that she's ripping off Timeless Toni Storm. Guys, can we just, root for both of these performers? This is one of those rare cases where I'm basically going to just, go down the middle here. And I'm basically going to be like, okay, listen, both these women are great. Both these women had a great feud. Both these women are in 2 different companies now. I think they are both going to do incredibly well. Why can't we root for both of them? Why can't we support both of them? Why does it have to be WWE versus AEW in this case? They're both great. They both deserve everything that they've gotten. Mariah May is going to be perfectly fine as Blake Monroe. She's going to be a star. You're in 2 months, you're going to forget that she was ever named Mariah May. I may be wrong about that, but in a few, look at Gunther. 3 years ago, he changed his name. He changed his name from Walter to Gunther. Everybody, including me, was pissed off about that. Now he's a 2-time world champion, longest reigning intercontinental champion, king of the ring. He's done everything in the last couple of years. Royal Rumble runner-up, unbelievable run. All of that is Gunther. If Mariah May is as great as she is, she will be fine, okay? She will be fine as Blake Monroe. So one thing that I really got sick and tired of saying is she got a stupid name change. She sold that. Guys, trademarking is a hard thing, okay? WWE wants to own these names. And, if you're in some cases, the talent are protecting themselves, even though this is her dream, you don't know what's going to happen. And like I said, Cody Rhodes, when he left WWE the first time, he didn't have the Rhodes name for 4 years. He was Cody, and he had to basically they has to basically say his name Cody with Brandy Rhodes to have to use unique ways to get around it. So that's why Ricky Saints he got a different name. That's why, Mariah May got Blake Monroe. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And Toni Storm, if you guys want to make this about Toni versus Mariah, I'll stretch this over to the WWE side, who's going to try and dunk, saying, haha, Mariah leveraged Toni and got into a better position. Toni's never going to hack it in WWE. Listen, Toni Storm's one of the great women's wrestlers, maybe ever. And she's got one of the great gimmicks, maybe in the history of women's wrestling. And she's going to be in one of the bigger women's matches of all time, which I'll talk about later, which I think AEW is kind of butchering, but we'll get there. But this doesn't have to be about that, guys. Why can't we just, root for women's wrestling to be good, and especially when the talent deserves these opportunities? And these two had one of the great women's feuds of all time. Why? Because Mariah May left, and you want to find something wrong with WWE, so you pick on their name choosing, even though that was Mariah May's choice to be Blake Monroe. Why do you have to be mad about that? Why do you have to question it? Why do you have to be second guessing it? Why does it matter? Why does it bother you? And so just bringing up this old promo of like, oh, she got sentenced to mediocrity, and now look at her. Guys, she's been in WWE for 2 weeks, and she's officially been Blake Monroe for basically 24 hours. Can we let this cook for a little bit? And like I said, being that Mariah May is freaking incredible and she's an unbelievable talent, she's going to make it work. So why does some cases, like, I can get mad at certain ways of things that are getting booked from one company to the next, but I like both these women. They're both awesome. They're both going to do great. Toni Storm is unbelievable. One of my favorite female superstars, maybe ever. And it sucks it didn't work in WWE, but I'm going to continue to root for her in AEW because she is fucking awesome. And to do a gimmick as over the top and ridiculous as Timeless Toni Storm and make it stick the way that she has, that deserves a boatload of credit. I freaking love her. Mariah May, what she's been able to do to elevate her career and get to where she wants and control the narrative and get to where she is right now is an unbelievable story too. So one promo shouldn't be making the rounds of like, oh, how you feel about one person or the other. Mariah May is now Blake Monroe. She fooled over AEW. All this and all that. Why does it have to be a war between this? Like, this is the shit that just drives me fucking insane. Can we please just rally around these two women? You guys talk about women's wrestling and supporting women's wrestling. Yeah, booking is different. But when it comes to these two women, it is inarguable that they are two of the best talents going today. And just because they're in two separate companies now, it doesn't need to be about that. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.